Okay, ready or not, let's go live. Welcome, everybody. When you drop in, say hi. Let me know what your name is, where you're from. If you make it here before my moderators do, I got a great crew. I got a great set of moderators on Sunday night. We have a blast. Let's see who shows up tonight. Let's see what the topic of discussion is. I'm just taking off my snow pants. It went back to winter here in Winnipeg this week. We had a couple of, pretty good winter storm this week. We had two of them, and yeah, it was still a busy week for me. It didn't stop me. In the very least, it didn't stop me. And actually, I worked pretty hard this week. I've got a couple of days off here, and today was my first day off, and I certainly did enjoy it. But I didn't really slow down too much. And like I said, I'm just taking my snow pants off because it was cold, and I'm just coming in. I just took my sister's dog for a walk. My sister has to work. I invited her over for dinner after work tonight, so she doesn't get off till 10 o'clock tonight. So I just put a roast beef in the oven, and I just made some mashed potatoes and roast potatoes and peeled some carrots, so it'll be a nice, easy fixing when she does pop in. But again, Owen made it in here first tonight. Hi, guys. Hi, Andrew. Hi, guys. How's your week been going? How have you been doing, Owen? I haven't heard. I expected that maybe you might email me or something. Let me know how it's been going with you in the comments. I know for the past few weeks you've been having these struggles with your mom and stuff, right? But, I'd like to think that things are getting a little bit better for you at home, or a little bit better for your mom, or a little bit of ease in the responsibilities that you have, that you get a little bit of a break for yourself so that at the very least you can unwind a little bit, right? Let me know, Owen. How are your legs doing this week, Andrew? Yeah, I wasn't pleased to hear that you wear those compression socks all the way up to the top of your thighs. I wasn't pleased to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that you suffer so much with legs, but we've discussed this before. Like, I knew you had problems with your legs, but I didn't realize it was that far along that you actually had to take those kinds of precautions to help alleviate some of that discomfort. Is it starting to unwind a little bit now, though, Owen? Is it starting to unwind a little bit, or are you still in the midst of the issues with your mom's health? How's your health? How's your physical well-being? How's your emotional well-being? That's what I would like to know. I've been really getting into some really deep conversations this week, really doing some heavy-duty studying in the emotions, and just realizing how easy it is to get sidetracked and get ourselves into situations where not only do the emotions get a hold of us, we actually feed into them and make those emotional issues even stronger, even worse, even more difficult to overcome. So I've been working on a lot of those kind of lessons this week. Oh, sorry to hear that. I hope it's not too uncomfortable. Physical therapy. And you're so young, Andrew, to have these issues. Oh, Dave's here too. Hi, Dave. I'm always happy when Dave shows up. Funny guy. What's your good cheer for this week, Dave? Yeah, he's always got something funny to say. A little bit of dry humor, I think Dave has. A little bit of dry humor. And I like that dry humor because it takes a good intellect, right? And a little bit of confidence that you can shoot them off, right? A good stiff joke and know that it's going to land properly. So it takes a little bit of talent in the intellectual scheme of things to have a little bit of humor like that. Don't say not so young. Next month already, right? You're a few months older. Oh, good, Owen. Email me for sure. Email me. Yeah, you're a few months older than I am, Andrew. I'll be 60 this year, too. This fall, I'll be turning 60. Yeah, I'm having a little bit of a rat woman day, but that's okay. I thought, oh, Cindy, go have a shower, get dressed. It's Sunday night, look nice for everybody. And I said, no, not today. Today is comfort day. This is how I am. If it were my day off and I was just spending the day by myself, right? This is how I would look. This is how I would look. And even if I did have a shower, I'd probably look almost the same, right? Because all I really do is tie my hair in a ponytail anyway when I get out of the shower, right? Mm. Oh, Dave's been talking about tiki tracks. Oh, I've known that Dave has been friends with tiki trucks for a very long time, but it wasn't for me to say, right? It wasn't for me to say anything, but yeah, that's interesting. Um, Hey, Dave, that's nothing. When I was 15 years old, we had a disco, 15 and 16 years old. It was called Studio 54, not the real Studio 54, but it was a discotheque for young teenagers between the ages, I think, of 12 and 18, and it was a place for people to hang out on the weekends and stuff. And it was an actual disco with lights and amazing music and stuff. And I was actually out on the dance floor, and this disco was just packed like Studio 54. Like you had to start in the lineup like hours and hours and hours, even before the door opened, just to guarantee that you would get a spot in the nightclub, right? But it was so much fun. But I remember I was up on a dance floor and I had a wraparound skirt, and I was just giving her on the dance floor. I was just giving her on the dance floor. And yeah, I was dancing away, and people were clearing and making space for me. And I really thought that I had the dance floor, and I was really, doing the Michael Jackson moves or the John Travolta moves, that they were so amazing that people had to stand back and watch me. And it turned out that my wraparound skirt had fallen off and I was dancing in my underwear. And that's why they had made this great big space for me out on the dance floor. I remember that childhood memories, teenage memories, these things that build character, things that you can look back on after they've happened and just have a good giggle. I'm sure at the time I was probably quite terrorized because I spent most of my teenage years in love with some guy at school or some guy at the club or some guy in the 16 magazine. Do you guys remember the Oh, you wouldn't remember the teen magazines, not the guys, but the women would remember. Uh, there was a magazine, it was called 16. I don't know if they still have the magazine, but it was very popular when I was a teenager. And I used to pull out the posters, and I was madly in love with Donny Osmond and David Cassidy and Michael Jackson and who else? Oh my goodness. There were so many big stars at that time, right? And I remember following Donny Osmond from one concert, one city to the next. I remember I was mad for Bay City Rollers. I was all about the Bay City Rollers. Yeah, I was one of those classic teens, right? And it makes you think. It makes you think that, how we're attracted, how we obsess about certain people, how these people become idols, right? Almost like gods in their own right. Like Justin Bieber, right? Like his whole life is so huge, 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 right? That sometimes, how can you guarantee that a life that big does not get away from you? Like for sure, right? Tiger Beat. Yes, 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 yes. I remember that. Yes, it was at the same time. I used to buy the Tiger Beat magazines too. Oh, ABBA, right? I liked ABBA. I was a big ABBA fan too. Who else did I like? Oh, do you remember Soft Cell? I liked Soft Cell. I thought they were going to be absolutely. And In Excess. Remember In Excess? I really loved In Excess. But I think it was wrapped around the idea of at the time I was going out with a guy, or maybe I was just in love with the guy. And every song that In Excess sang, it kind of related to my love life somehow, right? So yeah, there are certain songs that trigger me, right? And I don't necessarily think, oh, when was this song? What a great area. I must have had a great time. I always relate it to what was going on in my relationships, because it always seemed that when I was in a slump or brokenhearted, right? Or mooing over some guy, that I was into the music. Otherwise, I could care less when it came to music. Even when I'm at work, it's really funny because when I'm at work, I'm happy just to put a movie in a VHS and just listen in the background to a movie playing, rather than listen to the music on the radio. I like the quietness. I like conversations. Is what I really like. I like having a good conversation, and I also like silence. I like sitting in. I've been, while I haven't been in silence today, I was actually in some pretty deep conversations, some pretty good lessons I was delving into today. I just really was trying to have a really nice day. Last night, oh my goodness, I worked so hard yesterday at work. It's our busiest day of the week. My big boss was there, so you're on your best behavior, and even if you're on your best behavior, you're still getting it right. And so it was a hard day, but when I came home, I didn't give up. I got into doing, I did like two loads of laundry. I sorted out my house. I got my donations ready for Monday or Tuesday to take to work. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I try to take donations to work to make up for the things that I purchase at work. That's how I'm working in a kind of a little system. Oh, Melvin made it in tonight too. Hi, Melvin. Wow. I haven't seen you for is it a couple of weeks now, Melvin? No, you didn't pop in last week. We noticed that you weren't here last week, but the week before you popped in for a little bit. Earth shoes. No, I don't remember the earth shoes, but I certainly remember the platform shoes. Kiss. How could we forget Kiss, you guys? How could we forget that band? It was like the biggest band going on through the 70s and late 70s, right? And all of the 80s. Even part of the 90s, they were really popular. Oh, Andrew, I hope you're doing a joke. That definitely would not be good. Didn't they sing that song, Beth? I really liked that song, Beth, right? Was it Beth or Bev? Oh, I can't remember. But they had a really, really, really good song. They had a few good songs that I really like. I thought they were just as good at performing their slower songs than they were at their screaming songs. I wasn't big on the screaming songs. I always hung out in crews like in my late teens and in my 20s. I had aspirations to hang out with the beautiful people, I guess. And these people were beautiful on the inside and the outside. And I should actually make content on that subject of people who are just as beautiful on the inside as they are on the outside, because it is very much a rarity these days. And I have come across, I've never felt like a beautiful person myself, but I used to aspire, and I used to admire greatly people who could look through or look past people's disabilities or weaknesses, or things that made it so that that maybe they didn't stand up when it come into comparison to other people. even if it was just in their own minds, right? I in school, there were a couple of people that I noticed, if they didn't contribute, if they weren't nice to me, right, going down the halls or anything, at the very least that I could count that I could walk by them without them doing or saying anything mean to me. And in fact, a couple of them actually stuck up for me, when people used to pick on me and stuff. And I used to, right, and it would be very easy for me to fall in love, right, to right away. Anybody did me a kindness, I would cling to them. Again, that's that codependence in me, right? That, you give me a little bit of attention and I'm going to start fawning and stuff. And that's just part of my character, right? And I've realized that. And it was kind of neat, you guys, this week, right? I was talking about my trauma with my manager this week. A couple of weeks ago, my manager was giving me heck. She was giving me supreme heck, rightfully so, giving me supreme heck. But I could feel my eyes starting to bulge and water, and I'm like choking in my throat, trying not to burst into tears, right? And then finally, it got too much that I just kind of ended the conversation really fast. I had to go to the bathroom, get myself sorted, and get back. It was at the end of the day anyway. She was giving me poop for something silly that I had nothing really to do with me, but I took it personally, right? And sometimes I don't have control over these actions. I don't have control over these actions. This is part of my trauma as a child, right? Sometimes I would burst into tears when I knew my mother was going to come at me, whether she was just going to smack me around a little bit or if she was really going to give it to me. I would sometimes, just out of that fear or that anticipation of what was going to happen, I would get myself worked up, right? And then I would burst into tears. And sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't, right? And sometimes it would be that, my mom wouldn't end up, giving me beatings or smacking around or whatever. Like I wouldn't get it, right? So sometimes it did work. So when it came to being an adult, I found that lots of times when I noticed when there was conflict coming with somebody, and especially on one-on-one, and if I thought it was going to get really, really bad, when it was right on that edge that I knew that it could go one way or another, my eyes would swell up and face would go red and the tears would start flowing and stuff. And my emotions would come totally to the surface at that point, right? And I knew I did that quite a bit, but I carried it on into my jobs, into my adulthood, not knowing, right? Like these are things I'm just studying now. I'm starting to understand now, right? And so I did this last week when my boss was giving me heck and stuff, and I just had enough, and I had a hard day at work, and it had nothing to do with me, but she was looking to unload, and I was there, and it just happened. It automatically, I could feel it coming. I could feel coming, and sure enough, right, I got all flustery and ready to burst into tears. I think I held it together, but not very well. It was enough that she could notice what was happening. And then this week, actually it was yesterday. Day before yesterday, I came to work and we got into the conversation and everything. And I just said, it came up and I said, you got to ignore me when I do that. That's just don't feel bad. Don't feel bad when I'm doing that. Like if you're in the middle of something and I do that, because I could see her reaction, like, oh my goodness, what did I say to upset her? Or I didn't mean to do that. I could see it in her face. I could see it in her reaction when I felt that overcome by emotions that I was having. So yes, a couple of days ago, I had that opportunity to say to her, no, just ignore me. If I do that, just ignore me. Or better yet, call me on it, right? Call me on it. And I don't know why I said call me on it, because I certainly don't want anybody to call me on it. I just want them to leave me alone, right? But I say, call me on it if you see me acting like that, right? And like I said, it's nothing I can control, right? Once I'm aware of it, I can bring myself down, but I'm not always aware of it in the moment when it happens, because what I'm doing is I'm trying to avoid some serious pain, and it's something I do instinctively, right? And so yesterday she was giving me poop again. Something it's right. It's the way my boss works. I love my boss. I love my boss, and I've been around people like my boss my whole life. But they bring to the table. They do an amazing job. But there's no graph. It's my way or the highway, and this is how these people work, right? And I understand this, and I wouldn't be there unless I thought that I could take it, right? So she's giving it to me again, right? She's giving it to me again. And I can feel my eyes bugging out. And she looks at me straight in the face. She puts a big smile on her face. Looks me straight in the eye. She says, Cindy, stop it. Just like that. And it just stopped. It instantly, in that second, just stopped. She walked away, and I was just standing there like, oh my goodness. Like, I've never had anybody, because I've never told anybody about this thing that I do, right? To try to deflect pain, to try to deflect what I know or what I think is about to come at me. Right? This little trait that I do, right? Where I get super emotional, where I can't control the watery eyes and the eyes bulging and the emotions coming to the surface. And because I told her the other day to call me on it, right? She looked me straight in the eye, put a big smile on her face, looked me straight in the eye. She said, stop it. She said that to me. And it instantly stopped. And I had never had that opportunity to try something like that before, but it instantly worked. It instantly worked. I was amazed, and I spent probably a good hour contemplating how well it worked, how good I felt, right? Because I really felt like she cared enough that she was actually listening, and she actually was able to make it work. And it worked so perfectly. And I was so grateful, because now I know what the trick is, right? So it made me reflect on my past relationships with my past managers, the past owners of companies that I worked for, and my place in working for them, and in my interactions and in my relationships, my working relationships with them, right? And I realized, like, a lot of this, I must have confused a lot of managers and stuff, because I do this all the time at work and stuff, where I unexplainedly burst into, well, you guys have seen me do it too, for different reasons, because something has touched my heart, right? But if you catch me in fear, if I think I'm in danger, if I think something could happen to me, I will pull out all the cards. I will do what I have to get myself out of that situation. And I'm so pleased that I actually stood there and sat in that moment and actually explained to my boss this thing that I did, right? I could have said nothing and then just maybe used it to my advantage. And where my wonderful, because she is a wonderful lady, right, who would feel bad to even crank at me. And then what it does is it makes for an uncomfortable work experience, because then she feels that she can't be herself, because this is part of her personality, right? We crank, but we get the job done, and we get the job done the way we want to, right? But if we feel that if we even open up our mouths that we're going to insult somebody, hurt somebody, or make somebody feel bad, right? We still got to get that job done, but now we can't do it the way we would normally go about doing it, because now we got to tiptoe around Cindy's feelings, right? So it was really kind of amazing for that outcome that we had yesterday. So now she knows exactly what to do when I do that. And I know instantly, I can course correct in that moment when she calls me on it. So I was very, very, I don't know how I got on that conversation, but I was so pleased. I really do work for an amazing company and an amazing lady, right? An amazing lady who works harder than any of us there, right? But she's got huge responsibilities, and she goes about her business the way she goes about her business, and she chooses her employees to suit her way of running her businesses, right? So, yeah, I'm very pleased that we were able to work that out. It worked out really, really good for me. It was a lesson for me to always be honest with for the people that I work for so that they could truly understand me, right? So they can properly understand how to handle me, right? So that there won't be any misunderstandings, there won't be any hurt feelings, and there won't be any holding back saying, oh, I can't be myself. I can't raise my voice. I can't vocal my opinion, or I can't tell these people what I want them to do because I'm tiptoeing around people's feelings, right? So, yeah, it was very interesting. See, but this is again, like what I say, sometimes we get these lessons in our very lives, in our own lives, not just in the lessons that we pick up online or read in a book, right? Or hear on a radio or having a conversation, that we actually get these lessons just in our lives. And it's just a matter of us reflecting back on it, actually, right? Spending some time thinking about it. I wish you guys could see my cat. She's so cute. She likes my pillow. She sleeps like a human. She's got like a little bed going over there and she's fast asleep, right? But every once in a while my voice kind of cracks over the norm and she kind of perks her ear. Oh, is she talking to me? Is she talking to me? Okay, so let me go over some of these comments and see who else is here. Oh, William's here. Hi, William. Oh, so it was Beth. Yeah, I really like that song. I believe that, Andrew. I think you're a rock star. I think you're a rock star. Yeah, I love the 70s tunes, Melvin. I really love the 70s tune. April Wine was one of my favorite bands. I was very, very young. I remember them when I was like maybe 8 years old or 9 years old when they got to be really, really popular, right? Laying on the beach with my radio, do do do. Yeah, I really liked April Wine. They were one of my favorite bands. Yeah, for the older bands in the 70s, right? Oh, yeah, I'm not sure if that's a form of anxiety I have or anything. Maybe it is because I've been actually looking at myself to see where I might have some anxiety, right? I've been studying a little bit on depression and anxiety. And even though I've had low times, like, but that's what life is, right? Life is a struggle. Life and life throws those low balls and high balls, right? You get stuff thrown at you that you have to adapt and conquer. And it's a struggle. It can be difficult, but even though when things don't work out my way and I become sad, I don't think I delve so deep into it as a depression. I think the saddest point I ever had in my life was probably the time when I split up from my husband, when me and my husband's marriage fell apart, and I came back to Winnipeg. I was living in Edmonton at the time, and I rented a truck and loaded up the truck with all my furniture, and I came back to Winnipeg, and it was a very sad, a very lonely time. I knew my life was going to change drastically. We had all the same friends. He was in the military, right? And I had been absorbed into that military community. I had slowly given up all my civilian friends. When I got married, and I enveloped myself with my husband's friends, my husband's family, my husband's community, right? And so I knew when me and my husband split that I would be coming out of that community unless I met somebody in that community and hooked up with them and tried again. And I didn't try to stay in that community, but they were my only friends. I had given up all my other friends and I had just moved back to Winnipeg. I was so sad. I didn't want to be around anybody. So for me, that was very sad. I was very depressed, and at that point, I actually gave up the military life, and I didn't replace those friends with new friends. I slowly gave up all my friends until eventually, my sisters were my friends. Two of my sisters ended up being my best friends, and we just hung out together for, oh my goodness, for the longest time. What a waste of my life. I mean, it's lots of lessons in that, and I love my sisters to death, but I was never meant to be their best friends. I was always meant to live my own life. I was always meant to live my own life, but we filled each other's gaps, right? We knew each other. We neither of us had any of us actually interacted with lots of different friends. My sister who lives upstairs, Alice, is probably the most social of the sisters. Well, I guess I'm the most social because I'm online, right? Like I spew my stuff to everybody. So I'm probably my most social of the sisters. I'm probably the most social. But my sister is the most physically social, where she's actually going out and she's got friends and stuff going on. I just have to have some of my diet pop here. Yes, I'm still drinking diet pop. It's not doing me any good. It's not taking away any thirst. It's probably making me even more thirsty. But I also have some watered down fruit juice. It's really watered down, right? It's really watered down. But I haven't been having Charlie horses. I always make sure I have a couple of glasses of that before I go to bed. I didn't have any Charlie horses last week at all. I haven't had any Charlie horses at all last week. So I was feeling pretty good. That's because I'm rehydrating myself, right? Oh, that tastes good. I don't know. I know it's not good for you, but boy, pop is good. And that's how they trap us. That's how society traps us into these things that aren't so good for us, right? They make them good. They make things that are not supposed to be nutritionally good for us, make them yummy, right? Yeah. My sister said she'd bring me a donut home from work today, but I'm making her dinner. I'm making her dinner tonight. So let's look over some of these comments here. Yeah, so I have been working a little bit with the anxiety because I know a lot of people who follow my content do have anxiety, do have blocks that they just can't break through and everything. So it's important for me to, if I need to understand it really, really well, right? And I have to make it relatable to my life. And even though might not have those anxieties, I have to be able to see why I don't have those anxieties, right? And then if I can find those things out, right? Right? So it's about paying attention to people that do have the anxiety, talk to them, find out their stories. And a lot of it comes from trauma, right? Again, talking about how I burst and get watery eyed sometimes when I feel that tension coming from somebody, that aggression coming at somebody, where I think I'm actually going to get yelled at, or there's going to be conflict or something like that. So I would think then that maybe that might be some form of anxiety, but it instantly stops, right? My boss called me on it yesterday, and it stopped as soon as she said it. She just like, it was cool. It was really, really cool. Yeah, I remember you saying, Owen, that you've had anxiety attacks. And how does that feel? How does that feel physically, having an anxiety attack? My sister Alice had an anxiety attack one time at the bank. She thought she was having a heart attack, and she went absolutely crazy at the bank. And they had to call the hospital and take her to the hospital and stuff. And she actually truly thought she was going to die. But they told her it was only an anxiety attack that she was having at the time. Excuse me. But it was the only one and only time that she ever had that, right? My sister is very strong-minded. She's dealing with some her teeth are hurting her this week, and she doesn't know why. She's been to the dentist. The dentist can't figure out what's going on with her teeth. There's no reason. Her teeth look fine. But, it's with me, I truly believe that if we're aching, it's our souls trying to get our attention, right? That to say, hey, right, we got to move this way, not this way, right? This is the way I think about it anyway, right? And then when I start feeling good, then I change the routine, just like I said, right? Because I was having Charlie horses, I knew I was dehydrated. So now I make sure before I go to bed, I have a couple of glasses of water. And last week, I didn't wake up in the middle of the night with my Charlie horses, right? So it's just a matter of paying attention and just kind of experimenting until you find a solutions. And we'll see. I'll continue doing it for the next couple of weeks, and we'll see if maybe I've solved that solution. I have a pretty good feeling that that's exactly what I've done, right? Because I know I'm dehydrated. I know I'm going to bed, and that I'm thirsty when I go to bed, right? Yeah, Owen, I know lots of people who suffer with anxiety, and it's really, really hard to move and get things done and move forward when the anxiety hits, right? And I also know that when the anxiety hits, it's really, really hard to calm yourself down and to actually think. They say that the best thing you can do for somebody who has anxiety is just to sit with them, because what happens is when people notice that people have anxiety, is having an anxiety attack, what they try and do is they try and talk them down. They try and talk them and ask them questions and try. But when somebody's having an anxiety attack, the last thing they want to do is answer questions. They can't even think. All they're trying to think is, oh my God, I'm dying, I'm dying, I'm dying, right? Like things are just going to get worse, worse, worse. And you're in your head, you're just saying to that other person, like maybe you're saying it loud, but maybe most likely in your head you're saying, be quiet, like just leave me alone, right? Just leave me alone. Right? And it's nothing to laugh at, right? It's certainly definitely nothing to laugh at, but it's funny how people, they mean well, they want to help out when somebody's having an attack, but sometimes the best thing that you can do is just to sit with them, just to be close to them, just to let them know physically that they're safe, right? Because yeah, it's important that people who are having an anxiety attack, that they feel that they're safe at the very least while they're having their episode, because they're very aware that they're having an episode. They just can't control it, right? Really, Owen, you have to go into a dark room just to calm down, and it has to be quiet. What about music, Owen? Does music help? I'd be curious to understand, like if you put on a set of headphones with some good music, would that be able, or is the anxiety attack so brutal that you don't even think to do things, like you all you could think about is just getting away from it? Yeah, really interesting. I'm really interested in the topic. I would love to know a lot more about it, Owen. If you when you email me, if you could tell me a little bit about that, because that would help me so much, right? And in a way, that would make it so that you would be helping people too. It would be a gift from you to help people who have those issues. If you have any little tricks or little ideas that might help to bring people down when they're having those anxiety attacks, or if you have some information that would help me better understand it, when I'm working with people who are having anxiety attacks, right? I'm just going back over some of these comments here. And that's true, Andrew. As we do get older, we slowly shed those friends, don't we? And I got to think too, when I shed my friends, it was at a time when my friends were, just starting to have babies, starting to form their own families and stuff. And that wasn't something that was even discussed. Like, well, it was discussed. Well, like the plan was me and my husband weren't going to have children. We had decided we weren't going to have children. But, we had a conversation before we got married, and, my husband agreed that we would have one child. And I think it was about, how long was it into our relationship? Maybe 5 or 6 years into the relationship. I started hounding him, for babies and stuff. And that's when the things started happening. And that was his own anxiety, right? Now I come to understand this a little bit better because my husband, right? My husband loved me. Like he wanted me. So he made that promise so that, okay, Cindy, we can have one, but he truly, truly didn't want to have any children, right? He was convinced that he would be a father like his father was, and he didn't want that. And it was the same kind of fear as I had. Like I was afraid that I would be the same kind of mother to my child as my mother was to me, right? Because you hear it all the time that we grow up to be just like our parents, but in the end we don't, right? We get to choose. It's all about our own choices. You could either be like your parents, or you could be the opposite of your parents, or you could be something totally, totally different, right? And you think, well, okay, there's alcoholism in the family or drugs in the family, that these things are just going to carry on into your own families. It doesn't have to. It can stop at you. It can stop at your parents, right? And not even affect your life or your family's life. But it's your own choice, right? There was a lot of alcoholism in my family. A lot of alcohol. Alcohol never interested me ever. And I worked in a bar for 12 years. Well, more than that if you count the other bars that I worked at. But the main bar that I worked there for 12 years. And yes, there were times that I did drink too much. But I was drinking too much from drinks that tasted like chocolate milk and Hawaiian punch. Didn't taste like alcohol. I never ever liked the taste of alcohol. And there were certain things that I didn't like, right? you know and it just carried on that way in my life. I never liked steak either, which is really, really strange for somebody. There was a lot of steak eating in my family when money was going well, when my dad was having luck on the poker games or making great money fishing or great money driving cab. There was always steak and beef, and my dad was a meat and potatoes guy, and even though it was expensive and he had a big family, that was one of the things he would splurge on when he had money, right? But I never liked red meat. I and it's funny, right? Because I eat I eat meat that's not recognizable as meat. I eat meat like wieners and sausages and ground beef, like things like that. Even with my fish, right? I don't like fresh fish. I like my fish battered where you don't actually see the fish and stuff. So and it's funny because when you think of these meats that don't look like meat, they are the least appetizing cuts out of all those cuts, right? Because a lot of that stuff is made with vital organs and and uh, and I really detest vital organs, like people who eat chicken hearts and stuff. Who out there eats those kind of things? Kidneys and chicken hearts. Who eats those kind of things out there? I'd be curious to know who eats those kind of foods. Doesn't turn my crank in the very least, right? Oh, chicken hearts, a great big plate full of chicken hearts. That's about it, right? But if you're starving, right? If you're absolutely starving, you're not going to say no, right? Sunday, they used to do the emergency sirens like a test, Dave. They would do that. $80,000, Melvin, you paid for that truck? Oh, I just got to turn the light on here. I've been looking at the Jeep Rubicon Unlimited Wrangler. Oh, I just love it. I just love that truck. But with all the extras and everything, it would run about 80,000 too. It's 69,000 with all the goodies. But then once you add the taxes onto it and everything, that would be about $80,000 also, right? My dream vehicle. But you made your dream happen, Melvin. Wasn't that just one of the happiest days ever when you got to have your truck like that? Yeah, congratulations for that accomplishment, Melvin. That's amazing. Right? And Owen, that's what I was thinking. That's the last thing you need is to be listening to somebody yapping at you and trying to bring you down and trying to find out what's happening once you're right in the midst of an anxiety attack. Like I would be exactly like you. I'd be looking for a nice, quiet, dark place, right? Even if it's just my bed with my quilt over my head, I would just want to be left alone until it was over. But anxiety, there's a lot of fear and anxiety. Don't you feel that maybe you want somebody there just in case something does happen? Because in your brain, something terrible, terrible is happening. I think if I had that feeling, I would want at least one person, even if they were just sitting in a chair or something, just, as a precautionary, just to make sure nothing stupid would happen, right? Yeah, I find these things very interesting. Yeah. Oh, and I would love to talk about you. Maybe you would be able to help me understand it a little bit better so that when I do delve into people's issues, and I know it all comes from our past. I know it all comes from our childhoods. I know it all does, right? But we carry these things right up into our adulthoods, like, right? And then we live with them our entire lives. Yeah. And sometimes you're lucky, right? That you get to figure them out so that you're able to enjoy the last bit of our lives. And then sometimes we just have to carry them and live with them and deal with them and cope the best we can, and we carry these things right to our graves. It's just kind of curious, right, how this works out in our emotions like that. But you're right. I can see how somebody would just have to walk away. Oh, oh, that would have been sad, right? A Korean guy. Because, yeah, see, and that's again, you're talking about trauma, Andrew, right? Because his reaction wasn't a reaction based out of trauma, probably based out of something that, we heard those kind of noises. We're talking about the gentleman for Korea who heard the fire alarm like that, like it would have scared the poop out of them that something like terrible, terrible was happening, right? When really there wasn't. Yeah, just to help them feel better. Yesterday I was doing laundry. Like I said, I worked right until I went to bed last night just so I could have a wonderful day off today. And boy, did I have a wonderful day off today. I didn't do too much. I went for a short walk. I got a few groceries, had a few cups of coffee, uh, took in a few lessons, did some housework around the house, doing a couple of projects, walked my sister's dog. Right, I'm still staying busy. It's a day off, but I'm still staying busy. Every time the fire truck comes by my window, like I live right behind a fire station, and there's lots of emergencies, that those fire trucks are going at least once every couple of hours, and guaranteed somewheres during this live show you'll probably hear those fire trucks going off again. But every time they drive by me, I send them good cheer and good wishes that whoever they're going to take care of, that they're going to be okay and it's a non-emergency. Yeah. It's not good. My cat is totally used to. My cat's more used to those fire alarms than I am. Oh, look at that. Oh, Owen, if at all you can get to a computer, right? And I'm home. Like I said, I'm up till midnight, Owen. Like if you can catch me, I'm usually almost always home from say 9 p.m. till midnight central time, right? Like email me, Owen. I would love to have a conversation with you. I would love to see if I could help to bring you down. And I know, like you said, like when people try to help like that, you have to just get away from them and stuff. But I would be happy just to sit here and let you have your episode. And then maybe you could help me to understand it a little bit. Oh, Kim's here tonight too. Kim. Hi, dear. Yeah, oh, and I can't imagine, somebody suffering with anxiety, like, and especially when you're a caregiver, right? And Owen, when you're a caregiver, when you have to be able to be strong and focused for your mom's well-being, and at the same time, you worry about your own. Hi, Sharon. Oh, really? Emergency sirens. You know what? We have church bells that go off on Sundays at lunchtime. But other than that, for sirens, no. Uh, we have the Amber Alerts on our phone. That freaked me out. Last week we had a couple of Amber Alerts, and those emergencies. They screech on the phone for sure. Took me by surprise, right? But I think what a wonderful thing to do. People complain because it interrupts their moments and stuff. But you know what? If it saves a life, it saves a life. And I say, keep it up. It was no trouble for me just to hit that. Okay, I understand what's going on. I'll keep my eye open for this little child or what have you, right? But yeah, some people get themselves all tied up on the inconvenience of these emergency Amber Alerts that set the alarms off on our phones, right? Let me come down here. I'm still way up there in the comments. Okay, we're coming down to the bottom here. Oh, really? And do you live in a big building, Andrew? That needs an alarm like that? My alarm, we don't have vents over the stove in these apartments here. You can't cook too much without the fire alarms going off. I put a piece of tape over there, but just over the alarm part, so just so that it's not so loud. It's still loud enough to irritate me, but at least it's not going to scare me or take me by surprise because my alarms, they go off all the time when I'm cooking. I would assume that you would be sensitive to the loud noises. What about Owen, what about the surprise noises? What about the noises that take you by surprise, like the instant conflict or accidents or somebody getting angry with you in the moment? How sensitive are you to those kind of aspects? I would be interested to know. Oh, good that music helps. Awesome. I think I'm a little bit like you, Andrew, that way that I like the quiet. I like the empty rooms, the places with very low stimulation. I like that too, right? Because you don't have to pay attentions, right? Because for those of us who do have trauma in our lives, right, from our childhoods, those painful childhood memories, we're very in tune, right? We're very observant. We're very aware of our surroundings. And if we can put ourselves in quiet, empty rooms, places where there is low stimulation, right? That we can let our guard down a little bit and we don't have to be so hyper vigilant. And that's the word. I know I suffer from hypervigilance. I know I do. Oh, I'm coming down to the bottom of the comments. Yay, I'm catching up. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I thought so. I thought so, Owen. Yeah, and could that bring on an anxiety attack if someone were to come at you like really angry? Could that trigger an attack? I'd be interested in knowing that. I hope you don't mind that I'm asking you these questions, Owen, because we can go on to another topic. But I find it very interesting, and I know it's going to be very helpful in me moving forward. And I know if I can help people with the information that you give me, that gives you a little piece of that, right? That good help that I can pass along, that gives you a little bit of that reward, right? A little bit of that credit for helping. Oh, okay. I like things bright. I like everything bright. I like everything bright, right? Bright generates bright. I like my clothes to be bright. I like my house to be bright. I like outside to be bright. I like everything. My personality, other people's personalities. I like brightness. I love flowers. And I think that's why I love Mother Nature so much, why I love being outdoors so much, because there is that variety and color and lightness and texture, right, on the outdoors. Oh, okay, Owen, right? These are triggers. That's good to know. Really, really good information. Oh no. So you get strobe lights? That is awful. Oh, I couldn't imagine. It'd be like living in a disco. I for sure I would be under my I would just go to bed and I'd throw my blanket over my head until it was over. For sure I would. For sure I would. Has anybody been watching what's going on Mars this week? I'm getting some notifications here. I'm pretty excited. They're going to do controlled action, right, on Mars, so they'll be actually be able to send that rover all over the place with their own. I'm just trying to get these notifications off because I'm trying to read the comments and they keep popping up. I'm sorry. It's that time of day where they actually send me all those notifications. But yeah, that what's going on in Mars is so interesting, so interesting. Yeah. And to see that, that there was actually water on Mars at some point. That is so cool. I'm not one on big on space. My dad was big on space. My dad loved Carl Sagan, David Suzuki. Those were my dad's thought leaders, right? He really loved the idea of space and exploring in space and looking for new places out in the universe that we could plant seed where humans could plant themselves and make new homes, right? Yeah, my dad loved outer space. I didn't get it, right? He'd give me his books all the time to read and stuff, and I was an avid reader, but I didn't find them interesting. And yet I found the coolest book at work and I purchased it. Let me see if I can find it here. Oh, it's very deep. It's very deep. But yeah, I've got some really cool space books with some beautiful, beautiful prints, right? So I was thinking maybe I would frame them, but I don't want to take the prints out of the book, right? It ruins the value of the book. It was actually a book made by Carl Sagan, I think. I think it was written by Carl Sagan, but the photographs were done by some famous photographer, and it's all different artwork of different aspects of the universe, right? That's a good one, Andrew. I love that. Twinkle, twinkle, little star when he was saying that. That's pretty cool. Wow. Oh, look, an Angry Birds fan. He seems pretty smart when it comes to these alarms, right? Yeah, it sounds like he might have been, I don't know, maybe in the military at some time at one point. Oh, I missed Dave's comment there. He was talking about something. Oh, okay. They were controlled by NORAD. Is that ever interesting? I was reading that there is enough space for every thought that anybody could possibly think of for gazillions and gazillions, and there's an endless amount of space for thought. And that's why it's important to realize that it's about our actions and not our thoughts. We are responsible for our actions, not our thoughts, right? And I thought, what a great way, if you were like a criminal, if you couldn't help yourself from being, a bad person, or if your dad was in and out of jail and wasn't a good influence on you, and you grew up to have, these limiting beliefs about yourself and stuff, and if you just kept it in your head all the time, right? That you're responsible for your actions, not your thoughts, because we have some crazy thoughts moving around in our brains. I tell you, some crazy, crazy thoughts. And a lot of those thoughts are not even ours. A lot of those, I call them entities, right? They're not even belonging to us. They're something totally, totally different outside of ourselves, but they kind of make us feel that they're part of us, right? So, when they're usually they're pretty ugly, and they're pretty evil, and they're pretty, right? But we figure that they're a part of us when they're really truly not a part of us at all. So you just got to keep remembering, right? It's about our actions, not our thoughts, right? So they can think what they want, they can dance, they can try to influence however they want, they can scare us, threaten us, whatever, right? They can be that part of us, but that doesn't mean that we have to utilize that part of us in our everyday lives. We get to choose, right? The people that we want to be. But yeah, my dad loved Carl Sagan. My dad loved outer space, and yet that never interested me. But me and my dad would have such in-depth conversations. We get into these crazy, crazy conversations all the time, right? But space itself was not interesting to me. But he knew Mother Nature was. My dad was always dragging me, like no matter what. I always went with my dad. I was my dad's main adventure partner. Besides his brother-in-law, he loved his brother-in-law less. My dad loved his brother-in-law, and they were very, very close. They were actually fishing partners. They bought boats together. They fished together. They go away for months together. They were best friends. Like my dad's brother-in-law was my dad's best friend, and yeah, they had a really wonderful, wonderful relationship, right? I do lots of times because I collect quotes, and quite often on my Instagram and stuff I'll send out quotes and stuff, and quite often I forget where I learnt the quote from, who to attribute the quote to, right? Be easy to say, oh, I saw it written on a wall. I saw it written on a wall. But I know I'm getting them for lessons. So if I come across a quote that I think I'm going to use somewhere along the lines, I usually try to write the author down just so that I know if I'm going to use it to give the right person credit. There's a lot of copying going on out there. Even my stuff, it's kind of neat, right? That I put my stuff out there, and sometimes even a couple hours later, somebody will pop up with a video with something I just finished talking about, and they're giving the exact same lesson, but in their fashion, to their personality and stuff, right? So I know in what we do here, there is a lot of copying. There's a lot, but you got to take it as a compliment, right? Because it's got to be good. If somebody's going through the trouble to not use their own noodle, to use somebody else's stuff, right? You got to hand it to them. You got to hand it to them. And not, like I said, it's important that if you can, right, give credit where credit is due, because we all learn from somewhere. Very rarely do these ideas come from our own selves, right? Some of them do, but on the most part, no. We're learning from other thought leaders. We're learning from the other people and other adventures and other events that pop into our lives, right? That touch our lives. Yeah, so I try to give credit where I can. Oh, Nancy's here. Hi, Nancy. I love coffee table books, you guys. I have a pretty good stack of them here. I have a pretty good stack of coffee table books, and actually picked up a couple of new ones. I picked up a couple of new ones. Alexander McKenzie's autobiography, when he was doing his explorations in the 1700s, right? Late 1700s, early 1800s, when he was exploring North America. So I got a big book, and it's full of maps and everything. So I thought I would spend some time going through that. But I buy books all the time. Actually, I bought a big stack of books, and I don't know where I put them all, because if they're not around, I'm not going to read them. And here's a few books that I've got here. Vitamin and mineral counter. So I can better attribute my well-being and make sure that I'm taking the right vitamins and minerals. And again, like I was having those Charlie horses, and then to know that, okay, Cindy, maybe you're dehydrated. You got to drink more water. Maybe that will solve the problem of your Charlie horses. This was another book I got here. When Things Fall Apart, Hard Advice for Difficult Times. I haven't read it yet, but I'm looking forward to reading it. It's some great advice here to help people. I'm going to assume it's to help them overcome grief, right? Maybe poverty, or just in moving forward a little bit, right? This one here is I Believe in You, to your heart, your dream, and the difference we make, right? And this one is full of quotes from different thought leaders, right? So, I could just open them up here and just read one. If we want to make something really superb of our community, our country, and this planet, there is nothing whatsoever that can stop us. Shepherd Mead, right? Wow, what a perfect one for today. Here's another one. If I am not for myself, who will be? If I am only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? Rabbi Hillel, right? So again, famous quotes from all kinds of people from all over the world. So yeah, again, I'm looking forward to reading all of these. Now, here's another one. Again, like I said, I've been learning about anxiety. I've been learning about stress, because I want to be, right? I want to be qualified to help people manage and help people work through anxiety, work through their emotions, have a better understanding so that they're able to move themselves forward, right? Not everybody is a thinker here, right? Like, we are a group of thinkers here. We are a group of caregivers who hold each other up, right? Who support each other and don't judge each other at the very least. And this is how we move forward, right? But again, this book is Stress Less: Tips and Tools to Help You Chill. And each one is just a little tip, right, on Look again, let's open it up and let's read a tip. It's not personal. You were hanging out with your best pal when all of a sudden, snap, he lashed out at you. You have no idea what you did to set him off. Maybe you did nothing at all. Sometimes other people have the same issues you do. They're short of sleep or hungry. They can't find the right words for a feeling. They've had enough. Give your pal some space. You'll find out soon enough if this outburst was a one-time thing or something bigger. Wasn't that perfect? Wasn't that perfect? But again, different little tips and things to help us cope when the stress gets to be too much, right? We'll be going back into the wave right now, right? We're just starting to pick up a little bit of momentum. We're starting to move a little bit better, starting to overcome and feel a little bit better after this crappy year that we've all had, right? But we'll be going back into it again, right? That's what life is, right? It's just a big bowl of muck that we're trying to figure out, right? How to crawl out of that big bowl. And it's waves. It comes in waves. So, troubles, no troubles, and life just goes like that. And it's just a matter of how we ride those waves, right? How we cope with the struggles and the challenges and the anxieties, right? These things that cause us to, doubt ourselves or stop us from moving forward or just put a big obstacle in our lives and make it so that we just don't even want to move forward, right? Let me look at some of these comments here. Oh, Nancy. Okay, let me. I don't have my phone right here. I think it's in my coat pocket. I took it with me. I don't usually hang out on my phone. I do my live show and I check my Instagram and stuff a couple of times during the course of the day. But I really don't spend a lot of time on my phone. But for sure, I will. I will share that with everybody, Nancy. Let me grab my phone right now. I'll be right back here in 1 second. Just going to grab my phone. Oh, I can smell my roast beef now, you guys. It's starting to smell good. Okay, here's my phone. Okay. Nancy sent me a picture, you guys. And so I'm gonna share it. And let's see where I can share it to. Come back in here. There's Nancy. Nancy sent a photo. Oh, it's her train set. Oh my goodness. Oh, Nancy, that's amazing. Okay, let's see. How do we share this? Screen. Oh, I know how we do. We do a screenshot and we go power down. Woohoo! I'm so smart. Okay, then we share it. And who are we going to share it with? Can I share it to YouTube? No, I can't share it to YouTube. But, trying to figure out how to share it here, Nancy. Oh my goodness, I love that photo. Should I just share it to everybody? I'm just trying to figure this. I'll figure it out after my live show. I'm not very good at it, but I do got it as a screenshot and I'm going to share it with everybody here. But let me see if I can get this up against the camera and show everybody right here what I've got. Okay, can we get this close up to the camera? Okay. Oh, get my big fat finger out of there. See if we can get that to focus a little bit. She's showing me her train. It's the picture of her train set, and it's all the dwarf planets. All those, see those circles? Those are all planets. It's not very clear, is it? See if I can get a little bit closer, if it'll... I'm not doing a very good job. Come on, clear up, everybody. There we go. Oh, no, it's not very good, but it's her train set, and she's got them all set up with the planets all across the side of them. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing, Nancy. I love that. Thank you. I'll definitely share that picture. I did. I did, Nancy. It's not very good. It's not very clean. Maybe if I pull back a little bit. Is that a little bit better? Can you see the picture? Can you see the picture, you guys, that Nancy sent me? It's her train set. It's her train set. Is everybody with me there still? There we go. Oh, the keyboard fell over. Well, I'm glad you're back anyway. Good, Owen. Good. But yeah, Melvin, an $80,000 truck. Oh, you're so lucky. But I'm happy for you. Absolutely thrilled. You deserve to have these joys in your life, right? You deserve to have all these gifts. I've gained like 20 subscribers, over 20 subscribers this week on my Instagram. That's pretty good. I like that. I got a great crew over there too. A lot of my subscribers over on Instagram, they're learning English. They're from the Middle East and stuff. So I invite them to come over here on YouTube on Sunday nights, but nobody has come over so far. But I hope at some point, because I have the most amazing conversations going on here, you guys. I look forward to my Sunday nights so much. You guys are funny. You guys are funny. Yeah, it's amazing. I do. I talk about you guys all the time, and I try to move everybody from my Instagram, hoping that they'll come over and hang out with us here because, over here, we have such caring people over here, right? Oh, really? Oh, what a beautiful gift. What a beautiful gift, Nancy. What a good friend to have, right? Sharon, how are you doing? We miss you. You were in here last week. We were talking about that tape deck. I got it still sitting here, sitting at the door, waiting to be sent off, just like I have Owen's walking stick here, waiting to send off. Look at that. And I'm understanding, like, oh, look at Angry Birds fans, right? Like he's delving right in about these sirens and stuff. Very knowledgeable, right? He knows his stuff. What? It went to a museum? Yeah, that would have been a nice gift for Nancy. A Lionel train from the 1930s. But I think Nancy collects different trains, different kind, not the Lionel trains, is the little miniatures she collects. Oh, Nancy, that's amazing. What about your son? Because he worked for the airline. Did he get his both his vaccines too? So are you guys good to go to hang out with each other again? Here in Manitoba, they're giving people stickers. People who get their vaccines, they get stickers for their purses and their backpacks and their jackets to let people know that they've been vaccinated. But just because you're vaccinated, it means you're not going to get the flu. But that doesn't mean you can't pass it along. So still wash your hands lots, right? Sanitize when you go into the stores, right? Because we can still pass these germs along. The mayor just said that 59 years old is now eligible for their vaccines. I am 59, so I'll be making my appointment tonight. If not tonight, I'll be making it tomorrow. Tomorrow I made a whole list of chores tomorrow. Tomorrow is official day. I have to apply for my pension. Yeah, I'm eligible for my pension coming this October. We are what do you call those elevated stages of pension where you start with a little one and then as the years go by your pension gets a little bit bigger every few years. So it's tiered. That's the word I was looking for, tiered pension. So my first pension I'm eligible for this October. So I have to get that application in right away. I have to change my address for my medical because here in Manitoba, we get free medical. And because I'm going for my vaccine, right, I have to make sure that my medical is up to date and good. So tomorrow I have to make sure that I get a hold of medical and change my new address because I haven't done that yet. And I got clean my desk drawers here. I have some drawers on the side of my desk here. I've been using them since I moved into my apartment, and I kind of designated each drawer for a certain aspect of my life, but they are getting full. There is important papers that need to be sorted and put and filed away and stuff, and maybe even brought out in order to get some of my forms filled out. And what else do I have to do? Oh, I have to change my address for my unemployment. I know I don't need unemployment right now because I am working, right? But we're in a desperate situation now. We're going into our third wave, or we are in it right now. We don't know what's going to happen. If our mayor decides that he's going to shut us down, he might shut us down just like the mayor of Toronto had to do, right? And if that's the case, then maybe I'll find myself on a little bit of a break again, right? So I need to make sure that everything is up to date that way, just in case I have to apply for benefits in any way. It won't hold things up, right? Because whatever is most important is keeping the roof over my head because, I can't move myself forward if I have these worries and these, right? Keeping this apartment. I'm very grateful for being able to sit here, right? Aren't we all grateful to have a roof over our head in a time where lots of people are suffering? Nancy knows. Nancy's looking out her window and she's seeing homeless right at her doorstep. They're pitching tents, right? Right at her doorstep. And, even down my street, it's sad to say, but, there are people living in the bus shacks, and it's still winter here in Manitoba. Today was a very cold day. I was outside today. It was very cold, very, very uncomfortable. But you know what? It was nice to get fresh air. But at the same time, I'm paying attention to the neighborhood. I'm riding my bike. It's not difficult. I mean, to stay out of trouble when you're on a bike, right? Somebody's really got to have to be quick as you're riding by them in order to cause you any mishaps. But I will be doing all my outdoor. I won't be going evening walks in this neighborhood. It's not a neighborhood to do evening walks. It definitely is. And unfortunately, we have troubles here. Every place has a little bit of troubles, but we're very grateful. We're very lucky that we are working on these problems. We're not ignoring these problems, right? The mayor's got a big chunk of cash to put towards making sure that homelessness does not become a problem here in Manitoba. And so far, not so bad. There are places for everybody. If anybody needs a place, needs a pillow for the night, we have places that will take care of our less fortunate, our most vulnerable, right? And hopefully there are people out on the street that are communicating with our most vulnerable, that they are eligible, right, to have their vaccines. It's very important that our most vulnerable get their vaccines. Definitely, right? Let's take a look at some of these comments here. Wow. Nancy, that's cool. That's really cool. and you put flour in it, and that's your smoke. That's really neat. That's really neat. 1949. So that was just right after the Second World War. You know who, oh, look, an Angry Birds fan who you should be following, dear, because you look like you're a brainiac. You look like you're super smart and you know your stuff. You should be looking at Elon Musk's content. He is super smart and he loves this kind of stuff that you're talking about right now. Yeah. And you never know, like, we never know where we're going to get the answers from, right? You never know that. I'm looking at what he's talking about there and I go, oh my God, he's so smart. Nancy knows, Sharon knows the neighborhood that I'm talking about. That was that area around where that record store was, where you got your son those albums. And just down, it was Osborne Village there. I live just a block away from there, and yeah, that neighborhood, it's pretty well, it's not a good neighborhood to go be walking at night. There are too many people out there in need, too many people out there who have nothing, who are in desperate situations, right? And I would have to forgive anybody if I got hurt or if I got robbed, right? If they took my money, I would have to be instantly forgiving because I understand the desperate situations that people are in. But that doesn't mean that I'm purposely going to walk or purposely let myself walk into those situations, right? Right? We have to stay as safe as we can, right? As safe as we can, because every single one of us in here right now, every single one of us that is in here right now, there's a purpose for you. You were meant for something, right? And you're sitting here with me right now because of that. So it's important that you keep yourself safe, right? The problems that you have in your life right now is directly part of the lessons in your life, right? They're part of the lessons you're supposed, even the most uncomfortable. Even Owen's anxiety is a lesson, right? It's a lesson. And you need that in order to move forward in our lives. And even though you don't might not understand its purpose right now, and it just seems like it's just the most horrible thing ever, you're caregivers. You automatically, you're in, right? The people who care, the people who give back, who give more of themselves than they do to others. And where's Kathy tonight? I'm calling you, dear. I'm calling you, dear, on that. I know you would be here if there was a possibility that you could be here tonight, but don't think, Kathy, that I didn't notice that you weren't here tonight. I noticed for sure that you're not here. Everybody, look at it. It's after 9 o'clock already. That tonight, it just seemed to just go so fast. It just seemed like a 15-minute live today. Mm. Right? Yeah, I feel the same way, Andrew, as you do about that. It's hard, right? If I'm going to go out at night in this neighborhood, I want to be on my bike. I want to be able to move fast, so fast that, nobody can, unless I'm going to drive by somebody and somebody wants to push me off my bike. But you'd have to be a pretty mean person to do something like that. But like I said, people are in desperate situations. People are in desperate situations. And we have to have a little bit of compassion, right? A little bit of understanding. We have to forgive them. If not for them, we have to be able to forgive them for ourselves in order that we're able to move ourselves forward, right? What? You can go to the liquor store? Is that what you're saying, Dave? So, beer store and shopping. You're allowed to go beer store or shopping. Oh, amazing. I always wanted to be a truck. I thought I'd make an amazing truck driver. Not a truck driver's wife, because the truck driver's wife stays home while the truck drivers are working and cheating on them. But but to be a truck driver myself, right? I love driving. I love looking out a window as I'm driving and seeing beautiful landscapes, driving into small towns or small cities and seeing how people live. I love that kind of stuff. I think I would have made an amazing, amazing truck driver. But I think I would have been amazing at lots of things, right? Right. I like the back roads. I like the back roads too. Oh, now there's a comment, right? Right? Nothing good happens between 10 at night and 6 in the morning. That's probably true, right? That's probably true. Why, Nancy? April 24th. Why should the ladies not go out on April 24th? Let me look at my schedule to see if I'm working that day. Now you got me all curious, Nancy. Got to look at my schedule. What day is that? National Rake Day. Are you kidding me, Nancy? Oh, I tell you, I tell you, people have funny ideas about things, right? That is, and they stir up this trouble, right? These are troublemakers, and these are things we shouldn't be listening to, Nancy, right? I know Nancy's got a strong mind. I know Nancy's not allowing any of this to influence her in any way, but there are kooks out there. There are some crazy ideas out there, and we get influences from the strangest places, and we think of it as true, right? We like, it's funny that you trust older people because they're older, they're wiser, but they could say as much stupid stuff as anybody else. Untrue stuff, unkind stuff, things that impact people desperately, right? That makes me angry that a group would suggest even something like that. That is just the silliest. Oh, yeah. Get my blood going there, Nancy. Well, I hope it's not actionable. I hope that people realize that this is not something to take seriously. Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate it. Okay, everybody. That's it for tonight. That's it. I have one more day off, then I'm starting the week again. I hope everybody's having a great week. Oh, and I hope you email me. I hope, tell me what's going on, because, maybe I can help somehow. I know, right? But you never know where that help comes from. And I have been working in these studies, right? I have been doing my lessons. And even though I might not have all the answers, you might have that one answer, that one single piece that's missing in the pieces that I have that make it all click together and make it all work, make it all understandable, make it relatable to other people that might suffer the same way you do, right? And you'll be helping them, right? You'll be helping them. And you'll be helping me at the same time to be a better, right? To be better at what I want to do, right? Okay, everybody. That's it for tonight. I hope everybody has a safe week. I'm glad everybody's doing well. For those of you who pop in later, right? I really hope that you had a great week. I hope everything is going well, right, with you. I hope you're getting your vaccine. But if you're not getting your vaccine, remember, that's your choice, right? We all get to make our own choices in our life, right? But stay safe, right? Stay safe. And that's the most important thing. Because remember, you matter, you're important, And there's a reason why you're here. You might not know it yet. We might not know it yet, but there's a reason why you're here, and you have to stay safe, right? You have to stay safe. Okay, everybody. Oh, that's sweet. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you next Sunday. Bye-bye. Hey, and you guys, DM me on Instagram if you want to chit chat. Contact me through Messenger or contact me through Instagram. Like, happy to chit chat. I'm always happy to chit chat. And if I don't get back to you right away, I promise I will get back to you. So don't hesitate for a moment. If you're having a bad moment, if there's something you're struggling with and you just need an ear, even, I'm here, you guys. Like, you guys are important to me, right? You guys are important to me. So make sure. Okay, everybody. That's it for tonight. We'll see each other next Sunday. I am going to take in a lesson, make a fresh cup of coffee, and call it a day off. And it was a good one. Bye-bye.